Flex up, lower.
All right, everybody. Get it started in a minute. Yeah. Mark's up early today. Must be from all that California travel, right?
Yeah, it's a grandbaby.
Yeah, he's got a brand new grandbaby. I love that picture of you holding your granddaughter.
It's a boy.
Oh, sorry, grandson.
I didn't say mistake. Wasn't there something pink in that picture?
No, anyways, it was a lovely picture. All right, we're getting close to start time. Just like a Delta airline or United Airlines on-time departure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get started and we'll wait for Princess to show up.
There we go.
There we go.
Good morning.
All right, everybody. Happy Fun Day Sunday. We're getting started today in the center parts of our mat. We're gonna bring our feet together and we're gonna form some straightness in the legs. Try to almost lock out for the knees. And then I'd like you to kind of like take your back and let it flex forward and push forward with the shoulders and get that sensation of lengthening through the back itself. And now we're going to begin by pulling from an imaginary string on the top of the head, elongating the spine. And we're going to roll the shoulders back by simply taking the palms with a bent elbow at 90 degrees, and then take the thumbs and guide the hands back. So we're kind of like forming a little T of sorts, a baby T. As you breathe now, I'd like you to raise the shoulders up. And as the shoulders raise, I'd like you to take your thumbs and try to pull the arms back ever so slightly more. Now, if this is compressing in the neck, I want you to relax that region. Let it be nice and loose. Come forward so that the palms still face the skies and the forearms come together. Let's inhale and push the arms forward. And then let's draw the elbows onto the sides of the body. Open through the chest, making it proud, and then use the thumbs to guide open. And then come back, forearm to forearm, serve out the tray, and then come back with elbows onto the sides of the body, round out the chest, and sweep the arms backwards. Let's do that a few more times. So we're just simply warming up our shoulders at this point. We have a nice elongation through the legs. We serve out this time. Keep the hands up, palms still facing the skies. Now, let's take your elbows and splay them outwards so that the palms roll in to face each other. Let's push the palms together, extend the arms straight, and then keep those arms extending straight as you interlock the fingers. Keep the thumbs pointing up at the sky. Take an inhale and elongate the upper body. Now, draw the shoulders back, pull your tummy in, pull the neck long, and then rotate slightly to the right, come back center and go slightly left. Let's not worry about range of motion right now. We're just still warming the body. We're just oscillating side to side. Just giving our opportunity for the smaller muscles of the spinal column to be active. We're kind of vascularizing. We're getting blood flow into those muscles. And then let's come back straight, bring hands over heart. Let's draw the shoulders up to the ears and let's pull them forward again and let's bring the spine into flexion. That's the upper spine. Now draw your butt backwards and fold halfway down. And then come back up to standing and then let's bring everything back into position. Draw the shoulders up, roll back, open up the palms to face forward. Keep that 90-degree bend in the elbows and draw those elbows backwards. There we go. Now, take a big breath in, fill the lungs, proud out the chest, suck in that belly, and then push forward again, serve out the tray, reach it high to the sky, and then fold the hands together and bring back over heart. Step the feet out to the width of the mat. Let's take your toes and point them into the midline of the mat. Let's bring some straightness to the legs. Now, I'd like you to try to create a pressure in the big toe, the ball of that big toe. I'd like you to try to push it down onto the mat and lift the ball of the baby toe up off the mat if it's possible for your body to do that. And then let's settle the baby toe back down. Keep the legs straight and try to pull the legs together, kind of like you're operating chopsticks. And then reverse that. Try to push out with the heel and activate in. So inwardly and externally. Creating push. We should feel it kind of in the middle muscles, medial muscles, as we pull in, and on the hips, ever so slightly. On my case, maybe more so in yours as you push out. Now let's hold out. Try to spiral the ankles away from the body. Bring the hands forward, interlock the fingers, and pull your butt backwards, but keep the knees relatively straight. So if you're bent for the knees, lengthen it out and draw back. Beautiful. Now, we tried rotation earlier. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to have a rotation right, come back center, and then left. And limit the rotation here based upon keeping your hands centered. Keep going, Kirsten. And try not to move just the arms. Try to rotate the shoulder carriage. Very important for these muscles of the upper back, the spinal muscles, to be active. So if our arms are moving, those muscles aren't very active, is what I'm trying to say. Come back center. Release the hands, separate them shoulder width apart, make them long, and drift the shoulders forward, pull the butt back even farther. Now, let's make sure we have stabilization of the spine. And how we're going to achieve that is by activating that six-pack muscle. Make it nice and strong and active, like you're going to be punched in the tummy. As you keep it active now, I like you to pull your shoulders down to the hips and try to raise the arms up so the palms are about eye level. Now, as you sweep the arms back, open the palms to face forward, and then spiral the thumbs backwards, and then sweep forward, palm to palm face, and lift a little higher if you can, and then sweep back, open all the way, sweep it all the way back, and come back forward, palms face. Bring them back eye level. Now, let's bend the knees. Now, if your feet are angled, like I suggested earlier, the knees should kind of come together. And I'd like you to bring them as close together as you can while you work to keep the heels on the floor. So we're not rolling inward. We have the 3 points of contact as best we can. The ball of the big toe and little toe and the heel. And then try to draw the thighs together and get a little lower. And then stand back up, step the feet straight forward, inhale, raise the arms, exhale, fold all the way down. Let that upper body just hang out and enjoy ourselves. And Kirsten's going, finally. Now, bring some straightness to the legs and bring some relaxation to the upper body. What we like to practice, what I like to practice, are things that help our body to train to avoid compression. It's one of the worst effects of sedentary behaviors. Our body and the bones become compressed because muscles begin to fail or lack strength to do the movements that we want to do. So right now, we're just kind of finding a nice lengthening the hamstrings, trying to work the legs a little straighter if we can. And to put more emphasis on the hamstrings, I'm going to ask you to drift your hips backwards a little more. You should feel a little intensification of the pull on those muscles. As you inhale this time, extend to a flat back. As you exhale, fold back down. So we're just articulating the spinal column. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Hold up. Step your palms onto your shins. Go middle way up. Keep the fingers separated nice and widely. And if your elbows are drifted in towards the body, do the exact opposite. Drift them away. Now pull your shoulders up towards your ears. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Push the palms and extend to tabletop. Try to prevent those elbows from drifting internally. You want the external rotation of those elbows and up and into the shoulder. Now, bend both knees. As your butt lowers, start to elevate the upper body. Now, this is not a complete unhinge. This is like a 45-degree angle, maybe slightly more acute than that. Keep the spine growing. Crowd your chest but keep the support mechanism, that six-pack muscle, active. You want to reduce too much tension in the lower back. You got to also work the front part of the body, keep that elongation of the spine. Now take the right hand, reach it forward, do the same with the left. Stand tall. Inhale, reach for the stars. Exhale, fold all the way forward and take it to the ground. Oh my goodness. All that just to warm up. Now, you're gonna find a nice situation going on in your mat where you have your feet about the width of the mat. So there's a little V shape in the legs, of course. Let's flex the feet and let's bring some elongation to your spinal column. Now, often what happens with our bodies, right, is we get into these sitting postures and they feel very normal for us. So when we try to execute what really should be normal, we find our body fighting against itself. So today, I'd like you to try a little trick today. We're going to bend the knees ever so slightly, and I'm going to ask you to take your hips and try to roll up onto your sit bones. And simply that release of tension in the hamstrings is going to allow us to have a better opportunity of getting up onto the sit bones. Now, if you can do this and straighten the legs, so be it. And if you need to keep bent, that's where you are today. It's just a benchmark of where we can go. Now that we have a nice foundation within the pelvic girdle, I'd like you to take the spinal column. I'd like you to try to grow it. Let's bring the hands over heart. And then make the chest proud. Push forward with the chest. But again, never forget spinal bracing. So I'd like you to keep the six-pack muscle active. And also, we're going to bring in the transverse abdominal. So imagine being punched in the butt, in the gut, not in the butt. Punched in the gut. And then imagine I'm going to drop a bowling ball on your belly. So you got two forces. So you know how you like to get that big contraction? Activate it, keep it strong, push the chest forward, bring the arms into action now. Palms are facing. Let's lean in. And as we lean in, I'd like you to try to broaden out through the chest. So keep the chest broad as you raise the arms just above eye level. Nice. Now, take a big breath in. On exhale, try to reach forward a little more and let spinal flexion come in. So this is almost like the last part of a Pilates sit-up. That the fingers dive to the earth and then push forward so you have that nice lengthening through the upper body and especially through the back itself. Let the head kind of fall down, find its spot. Keep pushing the arms forward, and if your elbows are bent, straighten them. Reach. Inhale. On the exhale. Now, pelvic tucking. Imagine the base of the spine, the pelvic girdle, if you will, begins to roll back. Keep the flexion in the spine and begin to draw back. And we're going to try to imprint vertebrae by vertebrae each bone of your spine on the mat as you lower down, shoulders are rounded forward right now, and go slowly down and reach for the sky when you arrive on the ground. Nice. Now, shoulder blades. If you have rounded forward, and if we all have that habit, I like you to try to flatten out the shoulder blades. So crowding the chest is really an activation of that flattening action. So try to crowd out the chest. And as a reminder, keep the stabilization of that low back, that lumbar spine active. Six-pack. Nicely engaged, transverse abdominis. So I mentioned this before, but I didn't really articulate or cue in this. So the bowling ball drop is one of the things I like to use. Imagine that you're going to have someone drop it on your belly. How that tenses up. Now, with that tension in that muscle, which you've created right now, hopefully, I'd like you to keep that active and take your right leg and lift it up and into the air about 45 degrees off the ground. And then I'd like you to sweep it across the midline of the body. And I'd like you to rotate the toes down towards the earth as best you can. We're going to lower the leg down. It's going to cross over the left. Keep it straight and come back up. Turn the toes back to the sky. Bring the leg back where it was to start and slowly lower it down. Raise the left.
Sweep, rotate the foot, lower the leg. You should feel a nice activation and stretch on those lateral or side body muscles as we lower the leg and raise the opposite side. This is a nice little stretch for your hip muscles, the tensor fasciae lata, if you want to know what that's called specifically, and also your glute mid, medius.
Is this a chemistry or is this a biology?
Oh my God, it's chemistry. Yeah, this is definitely chemistry. Now, keep the legs extending straight, and as we go into more chemistry here, we're going to take the arms and sweep them backwards. I know everyone's probably laughing their guts out.
Oh, it's pretty funny.
This is what I have to deal with every day, folks. Now, reach tall, make the body tall, pull the arms back. Nice. Now, take the knees and pull them up and into the chest. Pull them enough or close enough in where you can feel the skin of your lower back connected to your mat. And then bring your hands back down right beside the body. And let's check in with our shoulders temporarily here. So I want you to kind of create that flattening out or opening up, if you will, of the shoulder blades. And I'm going to use my fingertips now to take my palms up off the earth. So I'm basically cupping the hands and all of the fingers. I'm going to separate them widely. So I got thumb and fingertips on both hands connected. Now, throughout the chest, draw the knees in a little more. Shoot those heels up to the sky. So right now we should have an internal rotation of the legs. It's closer, the legs are closer to the body than they are to the floor. And now we're going to start lowering down towards the floor. Slowly. Keep the feet about hip width apart. Keep the knees extended and straight best you can. It's going to put a little more emphasis on your hip flexors. So as we lower the legs down, I'd like you to engage more stabilization muscles of the belly. I'm going to bring my legs all the way down this time and allow the body to reset. So push the heels out, six pack, engage it. Imagine the bowling ball is about to drop. Take your fingertips this time, push them into the earth, and either one leg at a time or both legs together, a little more intense if they're both together, start to elevate. Keep the heels pushing away, try to keep the knees from bending as you raise all the way up and bring the legs as far back as you can. So I'm peeling off the lower back all the way up off the floor. This is really intensifying the activation of the serrated, all the muscles in the front, including that six-pack muscle. And then I'm going to slowly imprint each vertebrae of the spine as I begin to lower the legs back down. I'm going to hollow out my belly. I want to train it to be in as opposed to out. Those six-pack muscles should be in, right? Keeping it active though, lowering the legs all the way down, but we're not going to let them touch the earth. We're just going to tap the heels and then come back up slowly. I'm going to do this a couple more times. As you practice this, I want you to slowly engage mind to the muscle activation. Heel up and then slowly return. Legs extending straight, minimal, nominal bend. Keep the heels driving away. Keep the feet flexed all the way down, alternating left or right if needed, both together if it's possible. This time coming up, those muscles should be fatiguing a little more. It should feel a little more stressful. It's a good stress, not a bad stress. And then slowly lowering back down. This time, bend the knees and plant the feet just by the hips. Now, separate them about hip width apart. I'd like you to take your pubis and I'd like you to try to pull it up towards the belly button. So it's kind of really like a tucking, if you will. And definitely you should feel the low back, maybe slightly higher up, touching the mat. My tailbone is lifted up off the earth. Yours might also do the same, and that's perfect. If you can get that, and if it's not that, that's fine. We're just working to get there, working to achieve perfection. Now, while that muscle you've activated to create that internal rotation, the pelvic girdle is active. That's basically your six-pack muscle. You should feel it nice and active now. I'm going to ask you to do something very specifically. So from the heel of each foot, I'd like you to push it into the earth and see if you can start to raise to the hips and the low back, which is continuing to tuck under, up off the earth. And you should feel a nice activation of your gluteals. This is emphasizing a little more focus on that muscle. Now, as you lower down, try to imprint each bone of the spine as you lower down slowly. So try to make that connection. Try to feel the skin of the back, getting more and more touch sensation as the hips lower, and then let it all release. You should feel like, oh, that muscle feels so different when I let it go. All right, now back to it again. So we're going to begin by tucking. So I'm going to pull the pubis in towards the belly button, and then we're going to slowly push from the heels and elevate the hips as we come up. We're going to try to push a little higher this time, but again, tension-free and decompression through the body, right? We're not trying to compress one area when we're exercising another. Push a little higher, and then lower back down slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae. All right, so now when we're back down, we're going to bring our feet up and into the air. We're going to push the heels to the sky. So our legs are almost locked out, if you will. Let's take the legs and open them widely. So it's important that we keep the strength and length of the muscle to where our range of motion is stable. So I want you to push with the heels and open as wide as you can, and then slowly come back together. So these muscles pulling the legs back together are the medial or inner thigh muscles. We're working them a little bit right now for the rotation that's happening with that hip socket of ours. So when we sit, we don't really exercise these muscles. In fact, they get all messed up. So we're kind of just bringing some blood flow and some strength training to these muscles right now. And come back up. We're going to open out. And then we're going to change the angle on which we do this. So come back up and take the legs down about 45 degrees. And then open. And close. And open. And close. This is better exercise when you're doing it all by yourself. And one more time, open. And close. And then lower all the way down. And then open the legs. I'm going to stop without kicking my water. Step it out so we have a nice wide berth in the legs. And then we're going to bring our hands back off the floor, sweep them all the way back. You feel a little bit of burning in those outer thigh or outer hip muscles. That's good. Those were the external rotators that we were dealing with. Now sweep the arms up. Drop your chin into your chest, and Pilates style, we're going to come up. Now it's going to feel different than our previous practice because we've worked some of those muscles that we typically don't. And that six-pack muscle might feel like it's being a little more challenged, and that's okay. Let's dive forward, keep reaching, let the spine go into flexion, let the head relax. Let's enjoy this stretch a little bit. And then when you're ready, we're going to come up, not by going back down to the floor, but we're going to come up to a seated position with legs open wide. Again, so if you need to bend to roll up onto your sit bones, do so. And in fact, you might want to try that first and then see if you can extend the legs straight. Now, I was mentioning before about our bodies fighting each other. This is one of the things that's typically being fought is the ability of these hip muscles to execute what we want them to do. So it's a wide stance staff pose. I'm going to bring our hands over heart. I'm going to reposition this slightly. And then I'm going to make the chest proud, and then I'm going to serve out palms facing the sky, shoulder width apart. Now, as I keep the chest proud leaning out, I'm going to bring the forearms together. And then I'm going to extend, and then I'm going to pull back and take the elbows and trace the rib cage. And as I'm doing that, I'm purposely opening through the shoulders, bringing breadth and width across the chest. Now let's push back forward, extend all the way out, and draw
those elbows around the rib cage and pull all the way back. I'm gonna hold back this time. And while my palms continue to face the skies, I'm going to rotate externally the lower arms, the palms, towards the back. And feel this nice work through the upper back. If you're compressing through the neck, don't. Roll the chest proud, and then bring hands back over heart. And Pilates style, with hands over heart, we're gonna lower back down. One vertebrae at a time. My descent was a little faster than when my legs are closed. This goes to show you how it increases the workload. I'm gonna set my feet back in, bring them to the widths of the mat. And I'm gonna take my flat feet, so my feet remain flat on the mat, and I'm gonna take my thighs and roll them into touch each other.
Legs are bent.
Yeah, it's what we do when we step our feet in. Legs back. So. Yes, so we have heels up, or the feet are up by the butt. In case we didn't cue that properly, which is kind of what I'm registering for this person beside me. And I'm going to lower the back down onto the earth. My low back is my focus here. So this pelvic rotation, I'd like you to try to play around so that you can feel the skin of the lower back. It's a good way to register whether it's on the earth or not, is by the sensation in the skin of that low back, of course. So I want to get that nice and active, and then I'm going to squeeze the thighs together. And I'm just going to hold on that for a little bit. And as I'm holding on that, we'll get some other work going for the rest of the body. So I got those inner thighs working to close together. Those medial or inner thigh muscles activating. If they start to tremble, that's great. If it's too much, you can back off slightly. Try to keep that nice internal rotation of those muscles. And then take your arms, reach them above the sky. Up to the sky. And then let's draw the chin in, and we're going to crunch up slightly. So I'd like you to kind of rotate the arms down and lift the upper back up off the earth. Keep those legs squeezing together, and then lower back down and continue to crunch as you squeeze. Squeeze the thighs, crunch back up, and then lower back down. The movement, the rate of pace is about a 5 count, all the way to the top, all the way back down. Now, remember, this movement is new, and sometimes new movements to the body cause the compression of certain areas as they think, oh, this is a little scary for me. I'd like you to keep the neck decompressed so we're not tensing up, creating that stress for that. One more time, up, hold up, keep the chin dropping down, and then lower back down, send the legs all the way straight, and roll on to your tummy. So we're extending straight and rolling onto the tummy. I'm going to roll around so my butt's facing you guys. Enjoy the view. No, I know I'm being silly. All right, so we're on our bellies. I'm going to step my elbows so that they're underneath. I'm in a kind of a cobra-like position, if you will. And the elbow positioning is key to how much workload your body's going to receive when we continue with this exercise. So I have my feet about hip width apart, toes are tucked under. And I have my upper body finding length. So if I don't want your head falling off the body. I want you to kind of actively like find length through that neck of yours. And I'd like you to take your belly button and try to lift it up into the spine. And if you feel a lot of tension or pull in that belly, that's great. That's what we're really trying to create. Now, take a deep breath in and try to pull everything that's being pulled by gravity up and into the body. Keep that activation you just created and tuck your toes under if they're not presently tucked. Keep that activation of that whole belly being pulled by gravity, being pulled away with all of that muscle strength of yours as you lift your hips and come up onto the knees. And now you're in what's called 8-point plank. And I'd like you to try, while you're in this plank, to pull your elbows towards your hips and hold on that. And I'd like you to take that pelvic tucking exercise and begin to practice that by trying to tuck the pubis by pulling it in towards the belly button. And if you feel the intensification is too much, back off, but try to give yourself as much work as possible, and then lower the hips back down to the earth. Keep that spine nice and long. Come into a cobra-like position, spine going long. Keep the stabilization active. So you're actively pulling the belly up and into the body. Now, here we go again. Raise the hips slowly. Try to pull the pubis in towards the belly button. And now add the elbow pull towards the hips. Trembling is good, believe it or not. Compression, not good. So let the muscles tremble, but keep everything else relaxed. Lower the hips back down. And elongate the spine, pull the back of the head up. I'm going to do this one more time. Such a great exercise. Now, hollow out the belly. Keep it hollowing out. Begin to lift the hips. Begin to tummy tuck. Begin to pull the pubis towards the belly button. And take the center of the spine this time and pull it to the sky. Keep everything decompressed. And then lower back down. And roll back onto your backsides. There you go. Different way of talking through 8-point plank. You know, so you can use these iterations in your day-to-day routine. If you practice this, the planking is one of the better forms of abdominal training because it kind of incorporates the system of muscles that provides spinal stabilization. That's why I do these exercises. So I'm going to plant both feet, the heels close to the butt. Separated the feet, mat width apart. I'm going to find that low back skin on the mat. So I'm going to kind of play around a little bit so I can get that sensation. I'm going to keep that, and then I'm going to take my neck and try to grow it long. I'm going to drop the chin and try to step, if you will, try to step the back of the head back a little farther. Nice. So now we've got that. We're going to bring our arms up to the sky. We've separated the legs, we've separated the feet. We're going to dive down and try to come up Pilates style. So the arms are going to lower down, chin drops into the chest, and I'm going to try to raise up. And if you can, try to come all the way up. And if it's not going to happen, don't worry about it. Just give it that effort, and then lower back down. Hands reach for the sky. And then we're going to crunch this again. So chin lowers the chest, reach, 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 reach. And then lower back down. So our six-pack muscle is the beneficiary of this exercise, coming all the way up. And then lowering back down, and I'm going to do it just one more time. It's a lot on your neck. It's a lot on your neck. You should just be relaxing it nice and down. And then extend the legs all the way straight and Pilates style. Let's roll up. All the way up. Oh my goodness, those muscles get tired when you use them a lot, don't they? And then dive it down and let everything just hang out. And then from this position, we're going to get up and off the floor. Oh boy, this sounds like fun. All right. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. Let's step your feet in. And then gracefully come up to standing. Wow, that was super graceful. Did you see it? No, I was too busy trying to stand. All right.
That should be one of your classes.
Yeah.
Get up and then get down.
Yeah, I could do I'm going to call that my James Brown class. Get on up, get back down. All right.
Okay.
I know. The joke's already getting worse. All right. So let's take a right foot, step it forward, left foot steps back. We're going to be up on the toes of that back foot. And important here is that the system of muscles that we want actively working here. So let me describe what you're trying to achieve. The heel of the foot can roll out and it can roll in. I'd like you to try to point it up as best you can. So we have the ball of the big toe on that back foot, kind of like the little lever, the fulcrum, if you will. And we're going to take that left heel, I'm going to drive it down to the earth. As close as it'll go. It may go down, it may not go all the way down. Give me your best effort. You're going to feel that nice lengthening of those lower leg muscles. Let's keep that active. Now, reach the arms forward and then lean the upper body in. And then on the back leg is going to be the thing that articulates. But before we go there, I'd like you to check in with the toes of that right foot. If they're kind of grabbing into the mat, I'd like you to spread them apart. And I'd like you to take the heel of that right foot and try to push it into the earth. So that knee is almost going to straighten out a little bit. I'd like you to keep that active, and you're going to feel a little more tension for the right hamstring. Let's keep that as I take the left heel and raise it up. So I'm basically doing like a calf crunch, if you will. I'm going to drive the heel down, rolling over the ball of the big toe, and then pushing back up. But it's like two forces working simultaneously. The right heel driving, keeping that posterior loading of that right leg as the left heel raises and lowers. And we should feel a nice calf muscle activation. And we should feel that, oh, right side hamstring and gluteal going, oh. Now, hold up under the toes, bring the fingers together, interlock, draw the shoulders back, rotate to the right, and come back center. And rotate. So we warmed these muscles up earlier, and this is going to add a little bit of systemic movement patterns here in this spinal column and with the hips and upper leg muscles. Oh, so good. This is the muscles, or these are the muscles that get abused when we sit. So come back center. Bring hands over heart. If the right side is screaming for attention, great. You got a nice workout on it. Step that left foot forward. Switch up the sides. Now, set up on opposite side. Take the left heel, drive it to the earth. Remember, the ball of the right heel, drive it to the earth, sorry. And the ball of the right foot, big toe, is pronounced. You feel the weighting underneath it. Take the left heel, push down into it. So we have forward and backward tension. We're going to keep hands over heart. We're going to push up onto the toe and drive slowly down. Remember, the angle of the heel is 0. It's pointing straight up. Lower back down. Keep pushing left heel. Pushing up, we should feel the right lower leg muscles nice and active.
What about the arms?
All right, now push the heels down, extend the arms out, lean in, push up, and lower back down. So, two forces working simultaneously. Do a couple more repetitions. As the duration of use happens, the muscle begins to fatigue a little bit. Now let's bring the fingers and interlock them and come up off the heel and rotate left and come back center. Remember, this is a shoulder rotation, not just movement of the arms. Rotating. Range of motion increasing if it's possible, and if it's not, don't worry about it. Let's do a couple more repetitions. And then when you're ready, bring hands over heart, step the back foot forward. Nice job. Hands push to the sky. Inhale, extend. Reach as tall as you can get. Exhale, fold all the way down. Let's lengthen out those muscles we just worked. For that nice hamstring lengthening. So the hamstrings are basically work to help the knee bend. Believe it or not, every time we bend over, we feel those muscles working, but we achieve more length in that muscle, the hamstrings, when we straighten out the knees. So try it. You might feel the tension pull a little deeper. And that's simply because the hamstrings help articulate the knee joint. As you inhale, extend to a flat back. As you exhale, drift the hips backwards. Let's take the hands, walk them forward. Straighten the legs as straight as you can get them. Let's maintain 3 points of contact. The ball of the big toe on each foot, follow the small toe and the heels. And straighten through the legs, straighten through the spine. Lift the hips backwards. Take a big fill of those lungs. As you exhale, let everything just fold down. Take a couple breaths. Enjoy. Now, walk the hands forward. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Bend both knees this time. And then step your feet out to the width of the mat. I just have the ball of each big toe on the mat. Now, as the knees continue to bend, I'd like you to pull back the hips and try to lower back down, kind of like you're shooting for a train station hole in Europe somewhere. And then push the hips back to the sky. Inhale, extend the spine. Exhale, fold the spine. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Keep the back in extension. Bend both knees, lower that butt, pull the hips backwards, right? So have a lot of weight bearing felt in the heel. Now push the hips back up. Upper body folds in. Inhale, extend to a flat back. Back in extension, hips drift backwards as we bend the knees and lower the butt down. And let's do this a couple more times at your own pace. Remember, let the spine go into flexion when we finish. Go into extension when we start, and pull back, and bend, and push back up, and do it one more time. And this time, let's take the palms onto the shin, straighten the legs, tabletop the back, proud out the chest, pull the neck long, lift the hips backwards without falling over. And then take your left hand and right hand, reach them forward. And then sweep the arms to the sky as you stand tall. Those are your gluteals, creating that nice lifting. Reach for the sky. And then exhale the arms, let them fall out beside the body. Turn the palms in to face the sides of the body. Draw the shoulders up. Open up the hands to face forward. Now take your thumbs and rotate them backwards. So we're opening the palms to be away from the body. Let's take the arms on the 45-degree angle and pull them downwards. So we have an upside down Y or a V or whatever your favorite letter is. Pulling long the arms. Again, tension free through the neck. Take your chest, make it proud. Take your thumbs, pull them back a little farther. And then as you inhale, raise the arms up to make a regular shape, V or Y. And I used to do that. When I taught class, I'd say, why? Just because. Now, separate the fingers widely. Use the thumbs to pull the arms back so we get a nice lengthening through those pecs. And then bring the hands over hearts, step your feet into the center line of the mat, but hip width apart. Bring nice straightness to the legs. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, fold halfway forward. And then come back up. So these are kind of a modified good morning. The purpose they're doing this, continue, rep this out, continue repetitions. And while we do this, I'd like you to check in with your upper body. So there's a couple of versions of this. Right now, I want you to make sure that you're actively pulling the shoulders away from the center line of the body and avoiding any internal rotation so that the shoulders aren't rolling in. I want you to actively work that. And now we're going to hold up, clench your hands in the fist, keep the thumbs high. And now we're going to create a very specific activation by pulling the elbows backwards, keeping the neck long, and then we're going to do the same exercise. Pulling the elbows to the sky as we lower, pulling the elbows to the sky when we come back up. Let's do this a couple more times. So avoid the spinal flexion. Try to keep the spine and neck long as you pull down. And rise back up, hold back up, shoot the hands to the sky. Inhale, pull long, exhale, fold all the way down. When you arrive on the floor, on your backside, please and thank you.
All right. Let's take the left foot. Bring the left heel in close to the butt. Take the right leg and wrap it over top of the left. Now we're going to take the left leg and we're going to pull the right leg towards the left side of the body. Try to float the right foot though this time, and not touch the mat. So we have the right leg literally floating above the earth. Take the right hand, and if you can, roll up onto your side as best you can. So I'm right on the hip. I'm going to pull my right arm to the sky, and I'm going to reach it directly backwards, warning my wall here. So I'm kind of like floating, if you will, on that left hip. Then I'm going to take the right arm like a dial of a clock and rotate it all the way back, and then bring it all the way through and all the way up and back. And then I'm going to just put it on my hip and roll back onto my backside, switch up sides. Right leg pulls left towards the earth. We're floating that leg, rolling up onto the side, keeping that left foot up off the earth. Take the left arm, reach it to the sky, reach it directly backwards, and then circle it like a clock. If your head is straining, if your neck is straining, let the head relax on the earth. Just go through a couple times. We're just finishing up, doing some stretching, of course. When you're ready, plant that left hand on the hip. Roll back. Uncross the legs. Pull the knees up and into the chest and bring the forehead up to meet the knees. And we're just going to massage the lower back a little bit by rocking forward to back. And then return your head back to the mat. Rock side to side the legs. And then release them and then circle them around, whatever direction you want. And then reverse that for a couple repetitions. Extend the legs down. Pilates style, we're going to arise, take the arms, drop your chin, pull up vertebrae by vertebrae to seated, and relax everything. Let's bring your hands over heart, and let me say thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. Hope you have a happy and fun day Sunday. Namaste.
Namaste. High five. Good job. Okay. There we are. Woo.